And industry is just beginning to explore the benefits to managing and analyzing big data, but who are the big players in the big data game, and can SMBs implement and deploy big data technologies right alongside the big players in the tech industry? Right here in our TI Now studio, live from the TI 2012 event floor in Dallas, Texas, are three panelists to tell us just that. To my left is Joe Dubin, product manager of big data products and solutions at Pervasive. And next to Joe is John Myers, senior analyst at EMA. And on the end of the desk is Brian Stone, chief technology officer and founder of Vera Networks. And gentlemen, welcome to the program today.
Thank you for having us.
We're kicking off our TI Now programming this Thursday, June 7th, and our final day, by the way. And so far, it's been a good event.
Yep.
And thanks for being here. John, I'm going to start with you as our resident analyst here, if I can call you that.
Yes, sir.
What makes big data big data?
Well, a lot of people think that big data is simply a level of volume of data. One of the popular definitions is looking at both the volume, the variety, and then the velocity, or how fast you need to act on data. But we at EMA have kind of expanded that to include how well you can process it and how well you can economically bring that to bear. Because if it's a big data solution, if you look at its size or its velocity and you can't actually implement it economically, there's no real point in looking at that. So we kind of add those two components to it as well.
And Brian, yesterday in our pre-show, we had some time to talk and discuss the topics that we're discussing today. I asked you a question about relating big data back to the ICT industry and how that impacts the industry, and you said that was sort of a funny question. Why is that?
Yeah, I mean, to me, the ICT industry in general is really the founder of big data. I mean, telecommunication companies have been dealing with big data, since CDR records were being cut. Is it something a part of the industry? Of course it is. We've already been dealing with it. We're having to deal with it day in and day out. It's just now starting to get the buzzwords, and the analysts are starting to talk about it a little bit more. But we've been having carriers and companies that are dealing with that have to continuously be working with that already. I think now that the buzzword has kind of gotten out there and people have picked it up a little bit more, you're starting to see more people trying to figure out how to use that data more. Predominantly, most people were just kind of looking at it, making sure their bills were okay, making sure that they made calls go where they were supposed to go and that type of thing. And now they're really starting to look and say, how can I actually make that help my network? How can I make that actually make something profitable, and start diving into those things and cutting that data into multi-dimensions to figure it out.
Well, Joe, to Brian's point, why is it so important to get big data and the topic of big data out to a wider audience? And that's what you guys are part of what you do over at Pervasive, is it not?
Yes, that's right. And communication service providers are under a lot of pressure to reduce cost, protect their margins, and retain customers. Turns out one of the best ways of doing that is using the data that they already have to mine it, to find patterns in there that can drive profitability. And essentially there's three sources. There's machine-generated data coming from things like CDRs, from geolocation data, and then there's a whole set of external data that you can bring in. There's behavioral data. What are customers doing on the website? How are they behaving? You can analyze that. And the third thing, just to throw another technology on the table, is predictive analytics, which can be big data. It can also be on smaller size data, but it's the ability to not just see what happened, but actually predict what's going to happen and head that off. And it turns out you get much better predictions the more data you feed into it, if you put in not only this machine data, but all the behavioral data.